Hello everybody, this is the demo for integrating Provance ITAM with SAP. And before I start with the actual demo, I show you a little slideshow about the idea behind. So exchanging data between ITAM and SAP can be anything. We are assuming a couple of things for this demo. We will show you, or I will show you asset requests, so data from Provance to SAP. We will get back data from SAP to Provance, like order information or invoices or received notes. What's further possible is comparing stuff like inventory scans or reconciliation of the database, which is not shown here. But I think after the demo you can imagine that this is easily possible. Okay, some of the facts. All data, object relationships within asset management can be used for that. In my demo, to give you a good story, it's only hardware assets with links to specific objects. But as you know, anything can be used. How to export data. This can be PowerShell, SQL, Orchestrator, any other programming thing you want to use. The three common ones are noted here. And data import, I show you how to do it with Data Management Pack because it is quite fast for larger data sets, and you can import data plus relationships to objects. And this is done with PowerShell and Orchestrator, which is a worldwide premiere today, because Provance has provided some additional modules to do that over Orchestrator. Okay, we have three scenarios prepared. The first one is people order hardware over the self-service portal, and this then is stored in the asset management pack. And the first thing we're doing to get this to SAP, we're creating a CSV file. To be honest, this is easy to demonstrate. We could also write this with SQL directly into SAP. I don't know if the SAP guys want that, but it's possible technically. Then what happens is that the order is processed through a person in the system, and the purchase order then is stored in SAP. We get that with Data Management Pack and pump this data to Asset Management Pack, which is done again with CSV files, but the Data Management Pack is, you can do it as well with SQL or LDAP. Okay, so let's jump into this first demo. There is my management client screen, and in the requested hardware folder, a few here I created, I have four assets which are in the status requested. So if we look at the properties of this asset, it has a tag, it has no serial number, it's a tablet based on a model, we have no costs, no invoice information, nothing. So these are just created to have a reference to it. To get that out to SAP, the first thing we are doing is we will start a predefined runbook, and this runbook, I'm just deleting my old demo data here. This runbook will create a file here and write information, prepare information to be imported to SAP. So let's start that, and you will immediately see that this file is created, and then I simply get the requested assets, so querying all assets which are in the status requested. I get the relation to the model, so I want to know what to order. Then I get the owner relation, the owner itself, and write all that information to this CSV file. Additionally, I make a little note in the asset to identify that this has been changed by automation. This is just information that something happened in Orchestrator. So if we look at that file, it is pretty simple. We have a model, asset tag, owner. There might be additional things like location, organization, cost center, whatever you want. This guy here is using a couple of new hardware pieces in the future. Okay, that was the first step. And to show you where we are in our scenario, we are here. So we now have a request list. This will flow into SAP as SAP wants it. And now, afterward, it comes back as a purchase order. And the purchase order here, please look at this folder. It's a file drop folder, and I'm monitoring this folder. So when a file comes in here, one of these runbooks here will pick it up and import it. So I've prepared them. So that's a purchase order, and just to let you know what's inside here, it's an order date. We are referenced with the asset tag. We have a purchase order number here, which is a simple text string, a price, a currency, and a supplier. The supplier is not linked currently, but this one will be linked after that import. So let's take that one and simulate that SAP created this purchase order. So immediately after that file is in, this runbook here is starting. So we are monitoring this folder and are waiting for files with PO wildcard ZSV. And all we do is we are starting a PowerShell session, and this session is simply calling PowerShell itself to have a PowerShell 4.0 environment and use that Provance import data module. We call the template name, and we are passing the file name of this activity here to the template, to the import module, sorry. Okay, when the import is finished and it's successful, we are moving the files to this processed files here, which actually happened now. And well, with Orchestrator we can create unique file names, so if it has multiple times the same name, it has a unique one, like these here. Okay, what happens in our asset management system? The requested hardware view, if we refresh that, it's empty. And in the ordered hardware view, we get all the assets, but with additional information. We have a lifecycle status change, which is the order date. I took here simply the same name. We have a purchase order number. We have a cost currency, lifecycle status, and so we know these things are ordered and we're waiting for it. So let's go back to our presentation. This means that step here is completed. Looks very simple. It is very simple, basically, and it uses all the functionality which is noted in the website. Okay, let's take scenario 2. The suppliers are delivering the hardware, and it's arriving at our warehouse, and somebody is picking them up and unpacking it and taking the delivery notes, noting the serial numbers and all that stuff, so a typical item catch point. And this data walks into SAP in our demo. This could walk also into ITAM and then to SAP, but in our particular case we wanted to do it that way, so it depends on the process. Again, after it's stored, we want to have that information in ITAM as well, so we use the same technology as before and pump that data back to our asset management so that the ITAM manager knows what's going on. So So there is a prepared runbook already. It's called Received. It is waiting for a receive file. I simply drop that file now to our file drop folder, and just to let you know which information is in there. Typically what we get is we need a reference to our asset, we have a delivery note, we have a location, and this location represents the warehouse. We have a receive date, which is very important for ITAM because the warranty starts then, and as the asset is already here, we have serial numbers. And this information is passed to the data management pack and imported to our asset management system with more or less the same functionality as before. The only difference is here I'm waiting for files called RC, wildcard, and here I'm using a different template name, and this template is called SAP Received. So you can use any DMP template name which is configured in the data management pack. So we update that view here, and there are no items here, so we have them all under received, and we have also the serial numbers now inside our assets, so they can be started to relate to CIs. And additionally, we also have a receive date, which is also shown in the view, plus location. So location is the warehouse. This assigned to has been defined during the request process. The supplier, by the way, has been set during the purchase order. The receive date is set, the cost is set, purchase order date and purchase order number is set as well. There might be an update with invoice numbers later on, but it's more or less using all the same technology which is already shown. Okay, I simply prepare the last step. Maybe then the machines get installed and go into operation, and after a period of time they get deprecated. So the deprecation process starts, somebody updates the information in SAP, creates a file, and you know that story already. There is a runbook with the deprecation information, which I prepared, and I'm copying that over to our file drop folder, and there is simply the tag, the new price and the date value. That's all we need, because nothing else is changing, and as soon as the runbook is finished, the price value of the assets will change to reflect the actual value which is in SAP. Okay, until that finishes, I want to give you a short technical view on how things are working. In my demo, in my process, the requesting of assets works over the self-service portal, which kicks then a service request fulfillment process, and Orchestrator creates the assets you saw in the very first screen. What you saw is the one runbook which creates a CSV export for any ERP system, in my case SAP. And the third step, we get data from SAP or another ERP system and pump that with automation and the data management pack into asset management to synchronize those two systems. Yeah, that's it. Now let's finally look into our Orchestrator machine. It is finished already. As you see, the file has gone. It has been successful, and if we now go to our management client and take one of these assets here, we can walk into the history tab, and the last entry should show us that the price changed from this value to this value. Very simple. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it, you got some new ideas. If you have any questions, you can reach me under the email address I showed you on the very first screen, which is that one. And yeah, hear you soon. Bye.